Are you thinking about making a move to Long Beach, California? Well, in this video, we're going to talk about the pros and the cons, the goods and the bads of living in Long Beach, California, and we're going to get after it right now. So let's kick it off with the pros of living in Long Beach. I always like to start with the positive. So let's talk about the pros of living in Long Beach. So one of the first pros is going to be the weather. I mean, by far, that's probably the biggest pro of living in Southern California in general. Along the coast, it's usually most of the year you're going to look at about 75 degrees. During the summertime, May, June time, May you get some rain, but not a whole lot. Well, this year we got a whole lot, but normally it's not like that. May and June, you're going to have, and just like any beach city in California, there's going to be a gloom in the morning, like heavy cloud cover in the morning, and then it usually fades off by the afternoon. But I mean, weather-wise, you're, maybe highs in the like 100 during the summer months, and during the winter, you get down in the 50s. Sometimes at night it gets cold. At night you're down in the 30s. So you'll have days where it'll be 30 degrees at night and then 75 during the day, and that's perfectly fine with me. A lot of people like that. I would say it's probably the best weather in the world. And I've been to a lot of places. So I spent 13 years in the Navy, so that's all I did. Travel around, lived in Europe for 4 years when I was younger. My dad was in the Army, so like weather-wise, I can't think of any place that tops it. Hi, my name is Steve Batiz. I'm the broker owner of Next Home West Realty, and we get calls, emails, and texts every single day from people just like you wanting to make their move to Southern California, and we absolutely love it. So whether it be 9 days or 90 days, give me a call, shoot me a text, or send me an email, and I'd love to help you make a smooth transition into the area. Pro number 2 is the population, and some people are going to look at me and go, population? Yeah, I mean, there's pluses of having a lot of people. We have 466,000 people in Long Beach, and the pro of that is that it is a very diverse community. It's also a tight-knit community. It's kind of weird that I've been to a lot of places where the population's huge and it's not as tight-knit as it is in Long Beach. It's really kind of like a beach vibe. It depends on what part of Long Beach you go to. But when you're in South Long Beach, downtown Long Beach, it's cool. It's a nice town, nice beachy vibe, and there's tons of different types of restaurants just because of that diversity. So I would say that's a huge pro. Number 3 is the school district. Long Beach has won several awards for being one of the top urban school districts in the country. It's also won the Broad Prize. It's a prize that's given out by the Broad Foundation, and it basically recognizes the top schools in the country. And, Long Beach has won that award. So good schools, good school system. A lot of individual schools in Long Beach are rated high on greatschools.com as well. So pro number 3 is the schools. Number 4 is home prices. Now, compared to other parts of the country, people are going to say, well, I mean, that's ridiculous, how much the homes cost out there. Again, like I've said in many of my videos, when you're in Southern California, you make a lot more money. Give you an example, the minimum wage in Texas is I think it's $7.50 an hour last time I checked. California's $15 an hour. So what does that mean? That means that you can afford more, but you're going to have to spend more on certain things as well. If I'm going to buy a plane ticket from LA to New York, for example, it's $300. But at $15 an hour, I got to work 20 hours to pay for that ticket. At $7.50 an hour, I got to work 40 hours to pay for that ticket. Hope my math's right, but pretty sure it is. So when you buy a car, another example, if a car costs $20,000 in California, it's going to cost $20,000 in Texas. It's going to cost $20,000 in Virginia, wherever you live. You're going to be able to afford a nicer car for the same amount of money. So cost of living for homes, that's you know, the housing prices are higher, but you make more. Let's put it that way. You can buy a home in Long Beach, condos in downtown Long Beach for like $450. You can buy homes in North Long Beach. I mean, you know, there's higher crime areas are gonna the price are gonna be a lot less. But you know, I saw homes listed for $250,000, mobile homes, manufactured homes, and those you can go when you go down to Naples or down to like Belmont Shore, Belmont Heights. You're looking at least 1.5 million. So, you know, depending on where you want to live is going to determine the cost of the homes. But the range of homes in Long Beach are from, I would say, for a decent home, you're looking at, you know, $450 on up. Sky's the limit. I mean, there's homes out here for astronomical prices, but you know, they're located in great places, and you can't really move the location. You can't move if you move the house to a different location, it'd be a lot cheaper. Let's put it that way. Home prices for this area, you know, when you compare LA, you know, Manhattan Beach, Redondo Beach, you go up to Malibu. If you want to live by the beach in a you know, great neighborhood, come down to, you know, South Long Beach and check out the homes down there. There's some really good smoking deals compared to what you're going to pay in those other places. If you're getting any value out of this video, please consider subscribing and hitting the notification bell so that you'll know every time I come out with a new video on living in Southern California. Number 5 is going to be the beach lifestyle. Long Beach is named Long Beach because it has the longest beaches in California. A lot of beach. You know, along with that comes a beach lifestyle. It's pretty laid back. In certain areas along the coast, it's, you know, there's a lot of parks along the beach. So pro number 5, beach lifestyle. Pro number 6 is the dining scene. Again, you can find anything you want in Long Beach as far as dining goes. Italian, Mexican, whatever whatever you feel like having today, just get on Yelp and, you know, you'll find it for sure, 100%. And that comes along with, you know, what I was saying earlier about the diversity in the city. You know, with all these different cultures in one place, it really does, you know, have a lot of benefits to it. And one of the big benefits is you never get bored with what you're going to eat. Exactly. Pro number 7 is the art and culture scene. Long Beach has the Long Beach Museum of Art. It also has the Museum of Latin American Art, and there's a huge art district, plenty of live music going on all the time. So if you're into that scene, Long Beach is a spot. Pro number 8 is there's tons of parks in Long Beach, all along by the water, inland, some really nice parks. If you like to golf, there's the Marine Stadium, which is, you know, where they go out and row. The Olympic rowing teams, that's where they have the Olympic rowing competitions during the Olympics. There's plenty of, you know, water activities that you can, if you're into paddleboarding, into wakeboarding, into surfing, there's so much to do as far as, you know, parks and recreation within the city of Long Beach as well. Now, every city has cons, and Long Beach is no exception to that. So one of the biggest cons, and this one in general in Southern California is huge, is the traffic. So if you live in downtown Long Beach or South Long Beach, it could take you maybe 10 minutes to get to an actual freeway. And then once you hit the freeway, depending on what time you get to the freeway, it could be bad. Most of the time it's pretty good, depending on when you go. If during rush hour, it's always bad. I mean, I shouldn't say always, but most of the time it's bad. If you're, you know, traveling into LA in the morning time, you're going to run into traffic. So, you know, most of the time there's plenty of different routes, plenty of different ways you can go. But, you know, you'll kind of get used to it, and you'll know when to leave and what time you need to be there. So, you know, most of us, you know, figure it out. But con number 1 is definitely going to be the traffic. Con number 2 is going to be the cost of living. So overall, like I explained to you before, with the housing, yeah, you have a lot of variety. You can go, a decent place from $450 on up, but there's also other factors to include, and that's pretty much in Southern California in general. Gas prices are higher out here. Food prices are going to be a little bit higher. Your electric bill is going to be a little bit higher, your utilities. So you want to kind of keep that in mind. A lot of places when you go to look to buy a home, they'll show you their last bills so you can kind of get an idea of what they were paying on utilities, so that you don't get blindsided. You buy a house and next thing you know, there's $2,000 a month in electric bills, and it can get that crazy. But for the most part, if you're in a 2,500 square foot home, you're probably looking at for electric maybe $300, depending on how much you run the AC. But again, down by the coast, your electric bills are going to be lower than they are inland, because inland it gets hot. Like if you're going to like Riverside County and you're going to live inland, you have to have AC. Some of the places along the coast in Long Beach, you don't really need AC. There's a few months during the year that you would, but you want to keep that in mind to keep that cost of living down. Con number 3 is going to be the crime rate. There is, just like any city in Southern California, you're going to have a high crime rate. One of the good things to note, though, is that the crime rate has been decreasing in Long Beach. And you can kind of see that when you're driving around. It does seem like things are getting better. The homelessness is noticeably down from where it was even just 3 months ago. So, one of the things you want to look at too is, the crime statistics in the area that you're going to live in. And remember, the way they pull the crime statistics for the city, they're pulling it from all parts of the city. So in Long Beach it's a pretty decent sized city. So if you move to a certain part of Long Beach, you're going to have a higher crime rate than other parts of Long Beach. So keep that in mind too. Con number 5 is going to be the noise level. Now, depending on where you live, we have a lot of freeways running through. There's an airport in Long Beach. So if you live near the airport, if you live on a major thoroughfare, and there's a lot of people moving around, so you're going to have traffic noise, you're going to have aircraft noise. It's just something you kind of get used to. There's a lot of the homes have like retrofitted windows on it to keep some of that down, but it's not too bad, but it's something to consider. Con number 6 is going to be the air quality. There's a board, it's called the AQMD, Air Quality Management District, and they kind of monitor the air quality in Southern California. Take a look at their website, check out what the air quality is in certain areas also before you move there. Again, Long Beach is part of Los Angeles County, so there is going to be some, issues with air quality. Not too bad. It's not something that I notice on a day-to-day, but if you have problems, with like normally with breathing and air quality, you might want to consider that before you move down to Southern California in general. But, like I said, don't really notice it for myself. Con number 7 is going to be the sales tax in Long Beach is higher than the surrounding cities. So in Long Beach, the sales tax is 10.25%. In other parts of, like right around Long Beach, other cities are at like 8%. So if you're going to make a major purchase on furniture and stuff like that, you might want to go to another city to do it. Or you might just say, you know what, this is what I want. Here it is. If you're, 2% interest on $1,000, it's not huge, but if, this is part of the cost of living thing. So if you're, constantly buying goods in the city of Long Beach itself, that's going to rack up some cost over time. So just keep that in mind. So there you go. There's the pros and cons of living in Long Beach. Again, if you need anything, if you have any questions, you want to take a look at some homes, I'm here for you. So just reach out. All my contact information is in the description below.